I've always been an introspective type of person, contemplative, inquisitive. I've always asked a lot of questions. Even as a kid, I would ask so many questions. My mom would often get annoyed at me because she didn't know the answers to most of the questions that I was asking. It got to a point where she bought me an entire Encyclopedia Britannica set. So so I could look up the answers for myself. Obviously, I'm a little bit older, so there wasn't internet when I was growing up. I had an epiphany the other day. I've been a father for 19 years, almost 20. And it just hit me the other day that I'm a father and a dad who never had a father. It's taken me like a week to really sit with that. And it's kind of difficult to work through because growing up, I had a stepdad, but he wasn't. I don't really have any other basis of comparison other than the things that I do with my kids and for my kids. My stepdad was not really a father figure. He was, it seemed, I think of it now more as a placeholder, if that makes sense. It's odd because a lot of the things that I concern myself with my kids, my approach in a way, I think he was just a placeholder. He didn't care too much what was going on. Didn't really ask, what we were all into. And most of the time, if we were into something, he was against it. And while I've always had a rebellious nature to me, I think it's a little bit different as a father myself. Even if I'm not into something my kids are into, I still support what it is that they want to do and I let them make their own decisions. I just help guide them through the potentials of what those decisions might mean later on down the road. I think that's what the role of being a father is all about. So, my stepdad definitely was not a father figure. He never had any kids of his own, so I'm not so sure that he really had it in him to be a father figure. So I definitely view him more as a placeholder. But yeah, being a dad who is also a father without a father is a crazy concept. It certainly at times has me, if I'm being honest, there is a mild sense of almost envy for my kids because my kids do have all of my kids, I have 4 kids, all of my kids have their father in their lives and I love them so much they don't even know. I mean, they know, but I don't think they'll know until they have their own children how, like, the depth of what I'm saying. But watching my oldest son grow into an amazing young man, super intelligent, definitely he's already got his life kind of planned out. He knows the direction he wants to go. He's logic based in everything that he does, so if it doesn't make sense to him logically, he's 9 times out of 10 not interested in doing it. And I sometimes I wish I had that kind of guidance growing up because I think it would have saved me from making a lot of mistakes. I had to learn most of what I know in life the hard way. Just trial and error, making decisions, dealing with the consequences, so on and so forth. Now, I've never done anything bad. Like, I've never been arrested past the age of 18. I had a really rough childhood. I'll go into that stuff in further videos in great detail. Like, my oldest son is so good, I often joke with him and tell him go steal a candy bar or something because he doesn't do anything wrong. Now, obviously, I say that, humorously, but I feel like I would have been in a better place coming into adulthood from my early teenage years had I had the guidance that he has. So there is a level of envy there because I'm over halfway done. I'm over 40 years old. So I think that in retrospect, the guidance wasn't there. And it's almost trippy to watch. It's almost trippy to watch my kids and the decisions they make, and when they give me the explanations for why they make the decisions that they make. It's so impressive. They're so intelligent. And they all have great heads on their shoulders. For me, I think the times where it's the hardest is if I'm dealing with something, or if I've encountered any kind of a struggle in my life. I can't even call my dad. He died. And my stepdad is not at all interested in having a relationship with any of me, my brother, or my sister, as far as I know. He tried a few years ago, probably 10 or 12 years ago, he tried, but he called me and asked me what my address was because he wanted to send my kids Christmas presents. I said I wasn't interested in getting the presents. I wanted his presents for them. I haven't spoken to him since. I don't think he liked that answer. He's kind of that way, though. If you confront him about anything, he usually will just, stop talking to you, or he'll cut you off, or he's real quick with that kind of stuff. I haven't spoken to him in a really, really, really long time, probably since then. But the hardest thing for me is when I lose patience with my kids, or my kids do something that, I yell at them for. I don't have anyone that I can call. I don't have a dad that I can call and be like, what did you do in this scenario? What do you not even necessarily looking for anyone to hold my hand, just any level of guidance would be infinitely appreciated. But I don't have that. So I just kind of make do with what I have. I deal with things as they come. I'm introspective. I'm also retrospective. And I'm super quick to admit when I'm wrong to my kids. In my house, I do allow a certain level of conversation back and forth. In the moment is usually not a good idea. Like my son, for example, if he happens to get an attitude with me while he's getting in trouble, obviously I'm not going to have the patience or tolerate that. And usually I will deal out a harsher punishment if that happens, and later retract the harsher side of that punishment because I realized that I did that out of an emotional reaction as opposed to a logical response. And if he disagrees with how harsh that said punishment is, I do allow him to give me his opinion and give his logic as to why he thinks the punishment does not fit the action or, bad decision that he made. And I try to frame things that way, especially for him, because he is a young man. He's growing up into adulthood. I don't ever tell him that he's bad or anything like that. I try to frame it in a way to separate the decisions and choices that he makes separate from him, because his choices that does not define him. Those are just choices that he made, and youthful indiscretion is a thing, and I think a lot of parents tend to overlook that. Kids aren't the greatest at making decisions, but part of growing up is allowing them to make decisions and dealing with consequences, both positive and negative, as a result of said decisions, and letting them deal with those life choices. For me, I'm definitely more of a psychological parent, so I try to frame things in ways that can articulate to my kids the lesson that I'm trying to give them. Even if they ultimately decide not to listen to me, I do let them make their own decisions. The older ones anyways. The younger ones, I have a 6 and a 2-year-old. Obviously, I can't let them just run around making their own decisions. That would not be wise. But yeah, so I wonder how many other dads are out there that deal with this. I wonder, are there any of you? Feel free to comment below if you have any input or experiences that you've had or things you've had to deal with. I think that it's really important for a father to be in their children's lives, as I was raised without mine. So I happen to be one of the lucky ones. I beat the odds. I didn't end up in, the correctional system. I didn't end up in the gutter. I'm a business owner, sole provider for my family. So I definitely think that I learned from other people's mistakes in that regard. But I definitely made my own mistakes for sure. So I learned from mine as well. But I'm just kind of curious, how many other people are out there that deal with that specific issue. Yeah, I'll cover more in later videos. Feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you have any input or any suggestions on topics that you think would be interesting to cover. I don't have a niche yet. I'm more or less doing this more as a vlog, general information, perspectives of parenthood, childhood trauma, being an ADHD parent with ADHD children. That's kind of a big topic for me. Yeah, so let me know in the comments below. Thanks. See you next video.